The bridge of the human diplomatic vessel New Seoul was quiet except for the soft hum of systems. Captain Hyun-woo Kim sat in his chair, reading reports about trade agreements with the Galactic Council. It had been 3 years since humanity joined the galactic community, and they were still learning the rules. The communications officer looked up from her station. "Captain, we're getting a signal on the emergency frequency." Hyun-woo straightened in his chair. Emergency signals were rare in this part of space. "Put it through, Lieutenant Park." The main screen flickered to life. A blue-skinned alien with large, frightened eyes appeared. The creature's face was covered in tears and its voice shook as it spoke. "This is Elder Morin of the Villani people. Our world is under attack. The Kreth swarm has come to our system. They are destroying everything. Please, anyone who can hear this, we need help. We have tried to fight, but we cannot stop them. Our children are dying. Our cities are burning." The transmission cut to images of the Villani homeworld. Massive bioships filled the sky like dark clouds. Buildings crumbled under energy blasts. Villani civilians ran through the streets carrying their young ones. The scene was terrible to watch. Dr. Ji-eun Park, the ship's xenobiologist, gasped. She had studied the Villani culture for months. They were peaceful farmers and artists. They had never hurt anyone. Their whole society was built around growing food and creating beautiful things. "How many Villani are on their homeworld?" asked Commander Tae-ho Lee, the ship's tactical officer. "About 2.3 billion, Ji-eun replied, her voice barely a whisper. "They don't even have a real military. Just some old patrol ships for asteroid mining." The transmission continued. Elder Morin's face appeared again. "The Kreth swarm grows stronger with each world they consume. They have already eaten the people of 2 outer planets in our system. They are coming for our homeworld next. We estimate we have maybe 3 days before they begin the final attack. Please, if there is anyone out there who can help us, we beg you." The signal ended, leaving the bridge in heavy silence. Hyun-woo turned to his communications officer. "Send that transmission to Galactic Council Command immediately. Also calculate our distance to the Villani system." "Yes, sir." "The Villani system is about 4 days away at maximum speed." Within an hour, the council responded. Admiral Narration, a tall alien with gray skin and 4 arms, appeared on the main screen. Behind her, Hyun-woo could see the council chambers where representatives from dozens of species worked together. "Captain Kim," Admiral Singh said in her formal tone, "we have received the Villani distress call. The council is organizing a response fleet. What can we do to help?" Hyun-woo asked immediately. Admiral Singh's expression did not change. "The council appreciates humanity's concern, but this situation requires experienced military forces. Your species has only been part of the galactic community for 3 years. You lack the proper ships and weapons for this type of operation." Commander Tae-ho stepped forward. "Admiral, we have combat-capable vessels. We could at least provide support or evacuation assistance." "The council's decision is final," Admiral Singh replied coldly. "Human ships are not equipped for fighting the Kreth swarm. These creatures have destroyed civilizations that had been fighting wars for thousands of years. Your diplomatic vessels would only get in the way." Hyun-woo felt anger rising in his chest, but he kept his voice calm. "How long until the council fleet arrives at the Villani system?" "Our forces will need approximately 3 weeks to assemble and reach the outer rim." 3 weeks? Dr. Ji-eun stepped forward, unable to hide her shock. "The Villani said they have 3 days. By the time your fleet arrives, there won't be anyone left to save." Admiral Singh's face remained cold. "The council moves carefully. We cannot risk our ships and crews on rushed operations. The Kreth swarm is extremely dangerous. They absorb the biological material of their victims to make their ships stronger. Every species they consume makes them harder to defeat. But the Villani will be extinct in 3 days, Hyun-woo said. "That is unfortunate, but the council must consider the bigger picture. We cannot lose valuable military assets in a hopeless situation. The Villani system is too far from our main territories to mount an effective defense." The transmission ended. Admiral Singh was gone, leaving the humans alone with their anger and frustration. Dr. Ji-eun walked to the main screen, which now showed the star map. The Villani system was a small dot on the edge of known space. "They're going to let them all die," she whispered. Commander Tae-ho studied the tactical data they had gathered from the distress call. The Kreth swarm has about 200 bioships in the Villani system. Each one is the size of a council battleship, but they're alive. They heal damage over time and get stronger by eating other life forms. "What about their weaknesses?" Hyun-woo asked. The Council databases don't list any reliable weaknesses. Every species that has fought them has either been destroyed or forced to retreat. The Kreth have been growing stronger for over 1,000 years. Dr. Ji-un turned back to face the captain. We can't just sit here and do nothing. The Villani are completely innocent. They've never hurt anyone. Their whole culture is about peace and growth. Hyunwoo stood up and walked to the viewing port. Outside, stars filled the darkness of space. Somewhere out there, 2.3 billion peaceful creatures were about to die, and the galaxy's greatest powers were going to let it happen because it was too risky. He thought about his orders from Earth. Humanity was supposed to be building good relationships with the Council. They were not supposed to cause trouble or act without permission. Earth wanted humans to be seen as useful, cooperative members of the galactic community. But Earth had also given him other orders. Secret orders that most of the Council did not know about. Lieutenant Park, he said quietly, send a coded message to Terra Defense Command. Priority Alpha clearance. Tell them we have a Code 7 situation in the Villani system. The communications officer's eyes widened. She knew what Code 7 meant even if she had never seen it used before. Sir, are you sure? She asked. Captain Hyunwoo Kim looked out at the stars again. Somewhere in that darkness, innocent people were about to die while the galaxy's protectors made excuses. Send the message, he said firmly, and tell them the Council response time is 3 weeks. The Villani have 3 days. As the message was sent through encrypted channels toward Earth, none of the humans on the bridge spoke. They all knew what they had just done. They had activated something that the Galactic Council did not know existed. They had called for the Predator fleet. Deep in the asteroid belt beyond Mars, Admiral So-Young Choi received the coded message from the New Soul. She sat in the command center of Terra Defense Command, a massive facility built inside a hollowed-out asteroid. The facility was completely hidden from any outside sensors. As far as the Galactic Council knew, it did not exist. So-Young read the message 3 times. Code 7. She had hoped this day would never come, but Earth had been preparing for it since the moment humans first met aliens 5 years ago. General Kang, she called to the man standing at the tactical display. We have a Code 7 situation. General Min-seok Kang turned around quickly. He was a tall man with gray hair and serious eyes. He had been planning for this moment for years. Where? Villani system. Peaceful species under attack by the Kreth swarm. Council response time is 3 weeks. Victims have 3 days. Min-seok walked over to the main control panel. His fingers moved over the controls, entering access codes that had never been used before. Activating Predator Fleet Protocol. All units, this is not a drill. Around them, the command center came alive. Officers who had been sitting quietly at their stations suddenly began working with intense focus. Screens lit up showing ship positions, weapon status, and crew readiness reports. Captain Yoo-Jin Han felt her communicator buzz as she sat in her quarters aboard the Soul Reaper. The message was short. Predator protocol active. Report to bridge immediately. Yoo-Jin had been waiting for this message for 3 years. She quickly put on her uniform and ran through the corridors of her ship. The Soul Reaper was the largest and most powerful ship in the Predator fleet. It was 3 kilometers long and carried enough weapons to destroy an entire planet. When she reached the bridge, her crew was already at their stations. Navigator Bo-Ram Yoon was plotting courses through hyperspace. Weapons Master Jae-Sung Park was running final checks on the ship's massive weapon systems. Captain on the bridge, someone called out. Status report, Yoo-Jin said as she took her command chair. All systems ready, Captain, replied Bo-Ram. I've found a hyperspace route that will get us to the Villani system in 18 hours. We'll use the unstable corridors that the Council considers too dangerous. Weapons status? Jae-Sung looked up from his station. All kinetic bombardment systems online. Plasma lance batteries at full charge. Quantum torpedo arrays loaded and ready. We have enough firepower to glass a moon. Yoo-Jin nodded. The Soul Reaper was not built for exploration or diplomacy like the ships the Council had seen. It was built for one purpose: total war. Across the asteroid belt, 46 other ships were receiving the same activation orders. The Busan destroyer under Captain Sung-Ho Kwon powered up its engines. The Daegu Hammer loaded its massive railguns. The Ulsan Ghost activated its stealth systems. These ships had been built in secret over the past 5 years. While humanity showed the galaxy their peaceful exploration vessels and diplomatic ships, they had been preparing for the day when they would need to fight. General Minsiok opened a channel to all Predator fleet commanders. Attention all ships, you know why we're here. The galaxy has its first test of what humanity really means. A peaceful species is about to be destroyed, while the Council debates and delays. He paused, looking at the tactical display that showed all 47 ships preparing to launch. The Council thinks we are a young species that needs protection. They think our ships are weak and our weapons are simple. They are about to learn that they have been very, very wrong. On the Soul Reaper, Yujin opened the ship's internal communication system. Attention all crew. This is Captain Han. Today we show the galaxy who we really are. We are not the peaceful explorers the Council thinks they know. We are the descendants of Earth's apex predators. We are the children of a world where everything tried to kill us and we became the best killers of all. Lieutenant Colonel Dongmin Shin, commander of the fleet's reconnaissance wing, received his orders as he sat in his stealth fighter. His ship was smaller than the others, but it was equipped with the most advanced sensors in human space. His job was to get to the Volani system first and gather intelligence on the Kreth swarm. Understood, Command, he replied. Beginning jump sequence now. Dongmin's ship disappeared into hyperspace, followed moments later by the rest of the reconnaissance wing. They would reach the Volani system in 12 hours, 6 hours ahead of the main fleet. Back at Terra Defense Command, Admiral So Young watched as the fleet departed. Each ship disappeared into hyperspace using routes that the Council had never discovered. Humanity had spent years mapping these dangerous corridors, learning to navigate space in ways that other species considered impossible. Dr. Ji-Un Park would have been amazed to know that while she was studying alien cultures aboard the New Soul, human military scientists had been studying alien weaknesses. Every species humanity had met, every ship design they had seen, every weapon system they had observed had been carefully analyzed and catalogued. The Council thought they were teaching humanity about galactic civilization. Actually, humanity had been learning how to fight a galactic war. General Minsiok opened his personal files and looked at the tactical assessments his team had prepared. The Kreth swarm was dangerous, but they had weaknesses. They relied on biological ships that healed over time. They absorbed organic material to grow stronger. They had dominated the galaxy because other species fought them the wrong way. The Council species used energy weapons that the bioships could absorb and heal from. They used tactics based on honor and formal military doctrine. They gave warnings before attacking and tried to minimize casualties. Humanity would not make those mistakes. Minsiok smiled grimly as he closed the files. The Kreth swarm had never faced a species that evolved from persistence hunters. They had never fought creatures that learned to kill efficiently on a world where mercy meant death. Admiral Choi, he said, send a message to Captain Kim on the New Soul. Tell him the cavalry is coming. Tell him to keep monitoring the situation and stay out of the way when we arrive. Yes, sir. Anything else? So Young looked at the tactical display one more time. In 18 hours, the galaxy would see what humanity was really capable of. The Council would finally understand what kind of species they had been sharing space with for 3 years. Send a message to all Earth defense stations, she said. Tell them to prepare for possible Council retaliation. After today, our secret will be out. They'll know we've been hiding our true capabilities. You think the Council will be angry? So Young thought about Admiral Singh's cold dismissal of human capabilities. She thought about 2.3 billion innocent Volani, who were about to die because the Council was too scared and too slow to act. I don't care if they're angry, she said finally. Some things are more important than politics. Some things are worth fighting for, even if it means making enemies. The last ship of the Predator fleet disappeared into hyperspace, carrying humanity's deadliest weapons toward a battle that would change everything. The Kreth swarm was about to learn why Earth was called a death world. Lieutenant Colonel Dongmin Shin's stealth fighter dropped out of hyperspace at the edge of the Volani system. His sensors immediately began scanning the area, while his ship remained invisible to enemy detection. What he saw made his blood run cold. The Kreth swarm had grown even larger than the intelligence report suggested. Dongmin counted over 200 bioships of various sizes floating in space around the Villani homeworld. The smallest ones were the size of human destroyers. The largest were bigger than anything humanity had ever built. "Command, this is Recon 1, he whispered into his communicator. "I'm seeing massive Kreth presence. They've got the whole system locked down." Through his ship's cameras, Dongmin watched the horror unfolding below. The two outer planets in the system were completely dead. Their surfaces were gray and lifeless, stripped of all biological material. The Kreth bioships had literally eaten everything alive on those worlds. Now they were working on the homeworld. Smaller Kreth vessels were landing on the surface, releasing swarms of creatures that consumed everything in their path. Cities that had stood for thousands of years were being reduced to empty husks in hours. "Recon 1, this is Admiral Choi," came the reply from Terra Defense Command. "What's the Kreth fleet composition?" Dongmin activated his detailed scanners. "I'm seeing about 50 large bioships, each one roughly the size of a Council battleship. Maybe 100 medium vessels, destroyer class. The rest are smaller fighters and landing craft. Admiral, these things are huge, and they're actively feeding on the planet's surface." "Understood. Main fleet arrives in 6 hours. Continue monitoring and stay hidden." Dongmin watched as another Villani city disappeared under a wave of Kreth creatures. He had studied the intelligence files on the Kreth swarm during the flight here. They were not just destroyers, they were consumers. Every living thing they ate made their bioships stronger and more resilient. 6 hours later, space near the edge of the system shimmered as the Predator fleet dropped out of hyperspace. Captain Yujin Han stood on the bridge of the Soul Reaper as her sensors showed her the target area. "Tactical Officer Lim, report," she ordered. Tactical Officer Hyejin Lim studied her displays carefully. "Captain, the Kreth have positioned their fleet in defensive formation around the planet. They're using the smaller ships as shields for the larger ones. Classic swarm tactics. Any weaknesses in their formation?" "They're not expecting an attack from this direction. Most Council species attack from the inner system, trying to protect the inhabited worlds. The Kreth have positioned themselves to defend against that kind of approach." Yujin smiled. "But we're not most species. Weapons Master Park, what's our effective range on the kinetic bombardment system?" Weapons Master Jae Sung Park checked his calculations. "At this distance, about 15 light minutes. We can hit them before they even know we're here." "Perfect. Target the largest bioships first. I want tungsten penetrators, maximum velocity. Show these creatures what real predators look like." Across the Predator fleet, similar conversations were taking place. Captain Seung-ho Kwon of the Busan destroyer was selecting targets for his ship's massive rail guns. The Daegu hammer was loading specialized armor-piercing rounds designed to punch through bioship hulls. "All ships, this is Admiral Choi," came the voice from Terra Defense Command. "You are weapons-free, show them no mercy. These creatures chose to prey on innocents. Now they face the consequences." Yujin took a deep breath. "Weapons Master Park, fire when ready." The Soul Reaper's kinetic bombardment system activated with almost no sound. Deep in the ship's hull, magnetic accelerators hurled tungsten rods down a 3-kilometer barrel. The rods emerged from the ship at 15% of light speed, fast enough to punch through a planet. The first volley of tungsten penetrators crossed the distance to the Kreth fleet in just under 15 minutes. The bioships had no warning. Their organic sensors could not detect objects moving that fast until it was far too late. The tungsten rods hit the largest Kreth bioship like invisible hammers. Each rod carried the kinetic energy of a nuclear weapon, but concentrated into a space smaller than a pencil. The bioship's thick, regenerating hull meant nothing against pure physics. The creature died instantly as the rods punched completely through its body, creating massive holes that no amount of healing could repair. Its death scream echoed across space as bioelectric energy discharged from its dying nervous system. "Direct hit," reported He-Jin. "Target destroyed. The other bioships are starting to react." Across the Kreth fleet, alarm calls spread from ship to ship. For the first time in their species' history, they had been attacked by weapons they could not understand. The tungsten rods had moved too fast to dodge and hit too hard to survive. Captain Seung-ho launched the second wave of attacks. His rail, Guns fired armor-piercing rounds filled with superheated plasma. When the rounds hit their targets, they burned through the bioship hulls and exploded inside, cooking the creatures from within. The Kreth tried to respond, but they were confused and disorganized. They had never faced weapons like these before. Their bioships began moving toward the human fleet, but they were too slow and too far away. "Third wave, fire," ordered Eugen. This time, the Predator fleet used their plasma lance arrays. Beams of superheated energy lanced across space, targeting the Kreth ships that were trying to organize a counterattack. The plasma burned through their hulls and into their vital organs, causing massive internal damage. Commander In-kyung Choi of the Olsen Ghost used her ship's stealth capabilities to get closer to the enemy formation. Her ship was smaller than the main battleships, but it carried experimental weapons designed specifically for fighting biological targets. "Deploying thermal charges," she reported as her ship launched a spread of devices toward the Kreth fleet. The thermal charges attached themselves to Kreth bioships and began generating intense heat. The creatures tried to heal the damage, but the charges produced more heat than their biological systems could handle. One by one, the infected bioships began cooking themselves to death. "Enemy fleet is in full retreat," reported Dongmin from his reconnaissance position. "They're trying to flee toward the outer system." "Negative," replied Eugen firmly. "We're not letting any of them escape. All ships, pursue and destroy. These creatures came here to commit genocide. We're going to make sure they never threaten anyone again." The Predator fleet spread out and began hunting down the fleeing Kreth ships. The bioships were fast, but human ships were faster. The Kreth tried to use evasive maneuvers, but human tactical computers predicted their movements and adjusted targeting accordingly. Within 2 hours, the space around the Vallani homeworld was filled with the floating corpses of dead bioships. The Kreth swarm that had terrorized the galaxy for over 1,000 years was being systematically destroyed by weapons and tactics they had never encountered. "Captain," called out Hyojin from her tactical station. "We're detecting one more large bioship hiding behind the planet's moon. It looks like their command vessel." Eugen studied the tactical display. The last Kreth ship was enormous, easily twice the size of any other bioship they had seen. It was covered in thick armor and bristling with biological weapons. "That's their queen ship," she realized, "the one that controls all the others. If we destroy it, any remaining Kreth in the galaxy will be helpless." "Shall I target it with kinetic bombardment?" Eugen thought for a moment. The queen ship was hiding behind the moon, using the celestial body as a shield. A kinetic strike would work, but it might also damage the moon and endanger the Vallani below. "Negative. We're going to do this up close and personal. All ships form up for close assault. We're going to board that thing and kill it from the inside." The Predator fleet moved toward the moon, ready for the final battle with the last of the Kreth swarm. High above the Galactic Council chambers, Observer Thexalon sat in the monitoring station that watched over known space. Her multiple eyes were focused on the sensor displays that tracked ships and energy signatures across the galaxy. What she was seeing made no sense. "Counselor Mertaka," she called through the communication system. "I'm detecting massive energy readings from the Vallani system." Counselor Mertaka, a large creature with tentacles instead of arms, appeared on her screen. "What kind of energy? Readings? Weapon discharges unlike anything in our databases. The power levels are impossible. Also, I'm detecting the destruction of multiple large biosignatures in that system." Mertaka's tentacles moved in confusion. "That cannot be correct. The Council fleet is still 2.5 weeks away from the Vallani system. There are no military forces in that area." "The readings are definite, Counselor. Something is happening in the Vallani system right now. Something big." Back in the Vallani system, Captain Eugen Han guided the Soul Reaper around the moon toward the massive Kreth Queen ship. The creature was enormous, over 5 kilometers long and covered in thick, armored biomatter. Smaller Kreth fighters swarmed around it like antibodies protecting an organism. "All ships, engage the fighters," Eugen ordered. "Clear us a path to the Queen ship." The remaining ships of the Predator fleet spread out and began destroying the Kreth fighters. The small bioships were fast and maneuverable, but they had never faced human pilots before. Pilot Woo-Jin Lee flew his fighter through the debris, field around the moon, using chunks of rock as cover while he hunted Kreth ships. His fighter was smaller and more agile than anything the Kreth had seen. When a bioship tried to follow him behind an asteroid, Wujin used the rock's gravity to slingshot himself around and come up behind his pursuer. "Got you," he whispered, as he fired his plasma cannons point-blank into the bioship's rear section. The creature died instantly. Commander In-kyung Choi brought the Olsen Ghost close to the Queen ship's hull. "Preparing boarding parties," she reported. "Demolitions expert Song, are you ready?" Demolitions expert Mi Young Song checked her equipment one final time. She carried enough explosives to level a city block, all designed to work inside biological targets. "Ready, Commander. My team knows exactly where to hit these things." The Olsen Ghost attached itself to the Queen ship's hull like a parasite. Cutting lasers burned through the bioarmor, creating an entry point for the human boarding parties. Mi-young led her team into the interior of the Kreth Queen ship. The inside was like being inside a living creature, which it was. The walls pulsed with a heartbeat and the air was thick with biological fluids. The corridors were designed for creatures much larger than humans, giving the boarding party room to move quickly. "This way," Mi-young said, following the map her team had created by scanning the ship's internal structure. The Queen's control center should be in the core section. They encountered Kreth warriors in the corridors, massive creatures with claws and teeth designed for tearing apart their prey. But the creatures had never fought humans in close combat before. Mi-young's team used tactics learned from thousands of years of hunting on Earth. They worked together like a pack of wolves, using teamwork and coordination to bring down enemies much larger than themselves. When a Kreth warrior charged at them, 2 humans would attack from the sides while a third struck from behind. The creatures were strong, but they were not smart enough to fight organized predators. Meanwhile, on the surface of the Villani homeworld, Admiral Chang Wook Park had landed with medical and evacuation ships. He stood in the ruins of what had been the Villani capital city, talking with Elder Morin through a translator device. "Your people came to help us," Elder Morin said, his large eyes filled with tears of gratitude. "But how? The council said no one could arrive in time." Chang Wook looked up at the sky, where flashes of light showed the battle continuing around the moon. "Elder Morin, there are things about humanity that the council does not know. We are not the weak, new species they think we are." "I do not understand." Chang Wook knelt down to look the smaller alien in the eyes. "My people evolved on a world where everything tried to kill us. We learned to be hunters because we had to. We learned to work together because alone we would die. We learned to be efficient killers because mercy meant extinction." He gestured toward the human medical teams that were helping wounded Villani. "But we also learned to protect those who cannot protect themselves. We learned that strength means nothing if you do not use it to help others." Elder Morin watched as human soldiers worked to clear Kreth creatures from the city streets. The humans moved with a coordination and efficiency that amazed him. They did not waste time or energy. Every action had a purpose. "The council does not know about your true capabilities? The council has seen our diplomatic ships and our exploration vessels. They think those represent our full technology. They do not know about our military fleet. But why hide your strength?" Chang Wook stood up and looked at the devastation around them. "Because the galaxy was not ready to know what we really are. We hoped we would never need to show our true nature. But when innocent people are threatened, we cannot hide anymore." Back in space, Mi-young and her team had fought their way to the Queen ship's control center. The chamber was enormous, filled with organic computers and biomechanical systems. At the center sat the Kreth Queen, a creature the size of a building with hundreds of tentacles controlling different aspects of the ship. The Queen turned toward the humans as they entered. Her voice echoed in their minds through some kind of telepathic connection. "Impossible, no species has ever penetrated this far into a Queen ship. What are you?" Mi-young activated the explosives she had been placing throughout the ship. "We're humans, and you picked the wrong species to mess with." "Humans? The council said you were weak. They said you were no threat." The council was wrong. Mi-young triggered the explosives. The charges detonated throughout the Queen ship, targeting vital organs and control systems. The massive creature began to die, its telepathic screams echoing across space to every remaining Kreth in the galaxy. As the Queen ship exploded, observer Thexalon watched her sensors register the complete destruction of the Kreth swarm. In less than 6 hours, a threat that had terrorized the galaxy for over 1,000 years had been completely eliminated. "Counselor Murtaka," she called urgently. "The Kreth swarm is gone. All biosignatures in the Volani system have been eliminated." "Gone? What do you mean gone?" "I mean destroyed. Completely. Whatever happened in that system, the entire Kreth swarm has been wiped out." Murtaka's tentacles writhed in confusion. "Send a message to Admiral Singh. Tell her to increase speed to the Volani system. We need to know what happened there." "There's something else, Counselor. I'm detecting human ship signatures in the system, but they're not matching any known human vessel types." On the bridge of the Soul Reaper, Captain Yu Jin received a message from Terra Defense Command. "Captain Han, this is Admiral Choi. Mission accomplished. Begin evacuation assistance for the Volani survivors. The Council fleet will arrive in 2.5 weeks. Understood, Admiral. What about operational security? Maintain full stealth protocols during withdrawal. Let the diplomatic ships handle contact with the Council." Yujin looked at the tactical display, which now showed empty space where the Kreth swarm had been. Every bioship was destroyed. The threat that had consumed entire civilizations was gone forever. "Helm, set course for the outer system. It's time to disappear." The Predator fleet began its withdrawal, vanishing into hyperspace using routes the Council had never discovered. By the time Admiral Singh arrived with the Council fleet, they would find only human diplomatic ships and grateful Volani survivors. The galaxy's most dangerous predators were going back into hiding, but now they had shown their claws. High Counselor Vexthara arrived at the Volani system with the official Council rescue fleet exactly 3 weeks after the first distress call. Her massive command ship dropped out of hyperspace expecting to find the burned remains of another world, consumed by the Kreth swarm. Instead, she found something impossible. The Volani homeworld was alive and well. Reconstruction efforts were already underway in the cities. Most shocking of all, human medical ships were stationed in orbit, coordinating the evacuation of survivors to temporary shelters. "This cannot be correct," Vexithara said to her navigation officer. "Check our coordinates. Coordinates confirmed, High Counselor." "This is the Volani system. Then where is the Kreth swarm?" Her tactical officer, a young council member named Rix Allen, studied his sensor readings carefully. "High Counselor, I'm detecting massive debris fields throughout the system. The composition appears to be biological." Dr. Byung-ho Nam, commander of the human medical relief ship Mercy of Seoul, received a communication request from the Council flagship. He accepted the call appearing on Vexithara's main screen. "High Counselor," he said politely. "Welcome to the Volani system. I'm Dr. Nam, coordinating humanitarian assistance for the survivors." "Dr. Nam," Vexithara replied, her voice filled with confusion. "What happened here? Our sensors show that the Kreth swarm has been eliminated." "That's correct, High Counselor. The Kreth threat has been neutralized. We're currently providing medical care to 2.1 billion Volani survivors." "But how? The Council fleet only just arrived. Who destroyed the Kreth swarm?" Dr. Nam looked uncomfortable. "I'm afraid I can only speak to the medical situation, High Counselor. Perhaps you should speak with Captain Kim aboard the New Soul." Captain Hyunwoo Kim received the call from the Council flagship in his ready room. He had been rehearsing what he would say for the past 3 weeks. "Captain Kim," Vexthara said when he appeared on screen, "I need an explanation. The Council fleet arrives to find the Kreth swarm destroyed and your people providing medical assistance. What happened here?" Hyunwoo maintained a calm expression. "High Counselor, after we received the Volani distress call, we monitored the situation and provided assistance as requested." "What kind of assistance?" "Humanitarian aid, medical support, and coordination with other ships in the area." Vexithara's tentacles twitched with frustration. "Captain, the Kreth swarm is completely gone. Every bioship in this system has been destroyed. Our sensors show weapon signatures unlike anything in Council databases. I need to know who was responsible. I can only report on the activities of my ship, High Counselor. The New Soul provided communication support and medical coordination. Are you telling me you don't know who destroyed the most dangerous threat in the galaxy? Hyunwoo paused for just a moment. High Counselor, perhaps the Kreth swarm was not as dangerous as everyone believed. Meanwhile, in the Council Intelligence Center, analyst Gae Young Shin was reviewing data that would change everything the Council thought they knew about humanity. Gae Young had been working for Council Intelligence for 2 years, analyzing human activities and capabilities. She was one of the few people authorized to access the deepest levels of the Council's classified information. What she found in the battle analysis from the Vellani system terrified her. Director Zormak, she called to her supervisor. You need to see this. Council Security Chief Zormak reviewed the tactical analysis with growing alarm. The weapon signatures showed kinetic bombardment systems with power levels far beyond known human technology. The tactical patterns indicated fleet coordination and battle experience that humans supposedly did not possess. This is impossible, Zormak said. According to our files, humanity has been in space for less than 50 years. They've never fought a major war. Director, I think our files are wrong. Look at this analysis. Gae Young brought up a tactical replay of the battle. The attack patterns showed a level of systematic, efficient violence that suggested extensive military planning and experience. Whoever did this knew exactly how to fight the Kreth swarm. They used weapons specifically designed to counter biological targets. They employed tactics that no Council species has ever tried. This wasn't a lucky victory. This was professional military action. Zormak studied the data more carefully. The humans we've been dealing with are diplomats and scientists. Their ships are exploration vessels and medical transports. What if those aren't their real ships? The question hung in the air like a death sentence. You're suggesting that humanity has been deliberately hiding their true military capabilities? Look at the evidence, Director. Every human ship we've encountered has been peaceful and lightly armed. But the energy signatures from this battle suggest weapons technology decades ahead of what we've seen. Zormak pulled up the Council's intelligence files on humanity. 3 years of reports showing a friendly, cooperative species eager to learn about galactic civilization. Ships filled with scientists and diplomats. No signs of major military infrastructure. If you're correct, he said slowly, then everything we know about humanity is a lie. Back on the New Sol, Captain Hyunwoo received a secure message from Terra Defense Command. Admiral So Young Choi appeared on his private screen. Captain, how are the Council representatives taking the news? They're confused and asking a lot of questions. I'm sticking to the cover story, but I don't think they're buying it. Understood. How long before they figure out the truth? Hyunwoo thought about High Counselor Vexithara's expression during their conversation. Not long, Admiral. They know something happened here that doesn't match their understanding of human capabilities. Then we need to be ready for the consequences. The secret's out, Captain. After today, the galaxy knows that humanity is not what we pretended to be. On the Council flagship, intelligence analyst Gae Young presented her final report to High Counselor Vexithara. The conclusions were staggering. High Counselor, based on the tactical analysis, we believe humanity possesses military capabilities far beyond what they have shown us. The fleet that destroyed the Kreth swarm used weapons and tactics that suggest they've been preparing for galactic warfare since before first contact. Vexithara read the report in silence. Every page revealed another layer of deception. Human exploration missions that were actually intelligence-gathering operations. Peaceful trade convoys that had secretly mapped Council defense installations. Scientific expeditions that had studied the military capabilities of every species they encountered. You're telling me that for 3 years, we've been sharing our technology and strategic information with a species that was planning to fight us. Not necessarily planning to fight us, High Counselor, but definitely preparing for the possibility. What else have they been hiding from us? Gae Young pulled up her final analysis. Based on the energy signatures from the Vellani system, I estimate that the human military fleet is at least 50 times larger than what we've seen. Their weapons technology appears to be decades ahead of our own, and their tactical doctrine suggests they've been studying how to fight every species in the Council. High Counselor Vexithara looked out at the human medical ships still working to help Vellani survivors. The same species that had just eliminated the galaxy's greatest threat in 6 hours was now providing humanitarian aid with the same quiet efficiency. Director Zormak, she said finally, send a message to Terra Defense Command. Tell them I want a meeting with their real military leadership. High Counselor, The species we thought we knew doesn't exist. It's time to meet the real humanity. 3 days later, Admiral So-Young Choi received an official diplomatic communication from the Galactic Council. The message was simple and direct. Admiral Choi, this is High Counselor Vexathera. The Council acknowledges humanity's intervention in the Volani crisis. We would like to discuss a new framework for human participation in galactic affairs, one based on your actual capabilities rather than what you have chosen to show us. So-Young read the message twice, then smiled. The age of hiding was over. Humanity had revealed its claws, and the galaxy would never see them the same way again. Elder Morin of the Volani sent one final message that reached every human colony in known space. To the humans who saved our people, thank you for showing the galaxy that there are still species willing to protect the innocent and punish the wicked. Thank you for proving that strength and mercy can exist in the same heart. The Council's understanding of galactic politics had changed forever. Humanity was no longer the newcomer species that needed protection. They were the apex predators who had been protecting everyone else.